at least one person read this and said, my group is humans.
Yeah.
And the toasters are the other.
That's fair. Fuck yeah. Fuck them toasters.
Yep. In which case, strongly agree. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. This is episode number 25. On this show, we like to talk about comic books, TV shows, movies, video games, and everyone's favorite political discourse. I am your host, TacticAngel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murder socialist friend.
Hello.
How are you, Midget Radio?
I'm doing great. I'm a little tired today because my mom has a birthday and my, dad has a Father's Day. So it's like there was a lot of shopping and stuff today. It was very stressful. It's stressful now to have to buy gifts for parents. TacticAngel.
It's not Father's Day.
It's soon. It's like whatever.
Next week.
Yeah, it's like Sunday.
I want to say it's next week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I already got that shit covered.
I have to, because I live so far away now. I have to do it in advance so I can mail it, and it's very upsetting. It's very upsetting.
It makes sense. Well, I hope you get through it somehow. Bob.
I'm gonna. I think I'll persevere. How are you?
I'm okay. I have a delicious bottle of Kulmbaka Eisbock today.
Kulmbaka! Is that how you say it? I'm sorry.
Kulmbaka?
Kulmbaka.
Kulmbaka?
It sounds a little like in Conan the Destroyer. Wilt Chamberlain, I think, character. Mumbata! Do you remember Olivia Diabo, the princess in Conan the Destroyer?
I'm thinking that Kulmbach may have been a village, or this may mean something, because this is a delicious German beer.
So probably not Conan related.
Probably not Conan related.
I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is Austrian. Those people are practically.
This is the first time
German.
I've ever had an Eisbock, which is pretty interesting.
It is. Well, great. Does it taste good?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It tastes very alcoholic.
Fantastic. That is the point.
Because an Eisbock is basically just a Bock beer that they partially freeze.
Okay.
And then they take out whatever froze, and it's not the alcohol.
Oh.
So it tastes like a Bock beer with a lot of juice.
Interesting. Huh.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Interesting process.
One that appears to have been born out of an accident, as probably all cooking is sort of accidental.
Probably. That is generally the process of discovery, as I understand it. Well, I'm on the Glenlivet as usual.
Yep. I continue to cycle through new and interesting things, and you are just stuck in your ways.
Yeah, I guess that's how it is. I'm fine with it, though.
Well, good. Well, we might as well get into this.
Okay.
And we might as well call this the We're Fucking Around on the Internet episode, because this is all about this silly 8 values test on the internet, which means it's going to be sort of something to do with politics, but kind of entirely to do with politics, and then kind of, I suspect, not at all to do with politics.
Yeah, that's probably pretty fair.
We're going to put a link in the description of this video to the actual test that we're talking about.
Oh, that's for me to pay attention to. I need to remember that.
Yeah, that sometimes does not happen. I'm just going to read its description of itself off of the webpage. 8 Values is, in essence, a political quiz that attempts to assign percentages for 8 different political values. You will be presented by a statement, and then you will answer with your opinion on the statement from strongly agree to strongly disagree, with each answer slightly affecting your scores. At the end of the quiz, your answers will be compared to the maximum possible for each value, thus giving you a percentage. Answer honestly.
Great.
So anyway, we have both already taken this.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit surprised at a little bit both of our results.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
We're going to put both of these scores up. I'm going to find a way to do that since you have completely fucked the file format.
Oh my God, we can figure it out. You have Photoshop. Use those Photoshop skills.
It'll happen. So strangely enough, on economics, you're at a 57 or 56.7% for equality.
Yeah.
I am at a 46.3%.
Sure, that's not too surprising.
And then for everything else, we are within 5 percentage points of each other.
Sure.
55% or 57.4% for nation versus world versus 54.8. I mean, that's what, like, I probably strongly agreed on something and you probably agreed.
Maybe. I'm going to confess right now that I didn't click strongly agree or strongly disagree on any of these fucking questions.
I did on a couple of them, not very many of them. We've got 48.1 to 45.4 civil axis between liberty and authority, which is actually kind of funny because I think that you profess to be more of an authoritarian.
I am more of an authoritarian, but
I think this.
But that's always with the caveat that I'm generally the one in power. So
as long as you're in charge, the authority is just.
Yeah.
And by just, you mean just okay.
It's fine. It works. And if you complain about it, you're probably dead. So it's fine.
And then we've got social axis at 45.8 on tradition versus my shockingly high 49.3. Actually, that's a little bit lower than I would expect. I think we can both agree that this test is bullshit.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I tried to figure out, like, when I was looking at the site, because I had never really heard about this before. But that's because I don't really pay very much. Like, I'm kind of done with Facebook and all that other shit. So I don't know if that's why, but so I was trying to figure out, like, well, who the fuck even put this together? Like, who has the expertise to come up with 70 questions that will identify where a person lands in the political realm? You know,
I don't think anyone.
I don't think so either.
Anyone who
I don't know
who owns this website is doing it because, okay, I have written down some of the questions that that I think are kind of telling, and like
Okay.
that I don't trust. In part, I don't trust.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got some too. I took just like screenshots of all the questions that I had like an issue with. So I know the question numbers. Did you happen to also take down the number, like the question number of the ones you had? pointed out?
No. Do you just have the number and not
yeah,
the
well,
words?
no, I have question like 12, but I was thinking maybe we could go in order of the test. And
No,
the first question I had was number 12, which seemed like a stupid question to me.
What is the question?
So I don't the question is, excessive government intervention is a threat to the economy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I have this written down as a stupid question.
Right?
It's,
I mean, my biggest
it's done by
problem with
definition.
Exactly. Excessive. Of course.
Yes.
Then of course, it's it answers itself. It's a ridiculous fucking question. I mean, if you're reading,
you could use almost any other adjective there, and it would have been a better question.
Yeah. But excessive. So how do you not agree with that? How do you not agree with yes? Yes. Clearly,
I see.
excessive
The only
is
thing I
bad.
can think of is that you don't know what excessive means.
Yeah.
Or that you think that there is no possible way that the government could ever do anything wrong
Right.
or excessively regulate. And
Right.
I guess that says something about you, but
Sure. I don't know how many of you there are, but god damn it. Just a lot of this question or a lot of this quiz just seemed like reading comprehension issues more so than where do you actually land on something politically?
yeah, and it's sort of weird. See, there's so much interpretation you can do
Yeah.
in some of these questions. Some of them are super vague. And there's at least 2 or 3 dog whistles that I can remember in this.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, you have the freer the market, the freer the people.
Right? Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if this is exactly a quote, but I am almost certain I read something almost entirely similar to that
Yeah.
in Milton Friedman,
Yeah.
or probably some other Nobel laureate winning economist or political philosopher.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you have from each according to his ability
Yeah.
to each according to his need.
Yeah.
And you're like when I read that, I don't immediately think that's the worst idea ever.
No.
But when I read it, I can't help but look at it and say, this is the seed
Yeah.
from which one of the worst ideas ever.
Yeah. So contextually,
Sprouted.
yeah. How do you divorce
So I don't
that
know.
from its
Yeah.
history,
Oh, yeah. No. Communism isn't a failure. It's just never been tried. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll just work. You just need a different dictator. You just haven't got the right dictator yet.
That's generally the problem. But yeah.
You'll
I don't
fix
know
that.
I don't know how you look at any of that, and it's what kind of weight is the answer then? If I say that I agree with that, does that automatically mean now I'm aligning myself with fucking Stalin? It's just that just seems like a little
Well, I would think
insane to me.
Stalin as the leader of the Soviet Socialist Party, you would agree with a lot of what he had to say.
I agree with his methods, but
there are a couple other ones that I'm 100% sure this isn't a question about liberty, but it is.
yeah.
Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth.
Yes.
Or those with greater ability to pay should receive better health care.
Yeah.
And it's is this supposed to be an equity question? Because I'm almost positive that it's weighted as an equity question.
yeah.
But it is 100% if you have $100 and you want to do something with it, shouldn't you be able to do something with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to give it to somebody else, then give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Is that $100 somehow less
Right.
legitimate?
Now it's worthless.
It spends the same.
It's an asinine fucking question. I mean, what do you mean by legitimate? Like, yeah, that money's gonna spend. So, yeah, it just seems like it's just fucking stupid. It's just a stupid question. There's a lot of that.
I wonder how many times some trust fund kid ends up at the Gap and the guy across the counter looks at him and he's like, this money's not legit.
Yeah, sorry. You got it
Get
from
out of
daddy.
here.
So
no, you don't get the acid wash jeans. I'm sure those are coming back.
Yeah, it's a lot of the questions were like that. I mean, the other one that I think is definitely a dog whistle of some kind is the like, my religious values should be spread across the world or whatever, right? And you're like, if you're a religious person and you believe in those values, how do you not answer yes to that question?
Well, yeah. I clicked agree. It's like, I don't know how you think that I want them spread, because I have a feeling that you're probably putting me in the authoritarian column here, when really it's just like, seriously, if everyone had similar values, there would be less disagreement.
Yeah. That's kind of evident on its face.
So I don't know. That guy kind of close to, there's some question, I didn't write it down because I didn't want to talk about it. But there's some question that says, like, all cultures are basically equal.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck no.
Of course.
Clearly not.
Of course they aren't. Of course they're not.
And it's like, oh, you're a terrible person for strongly disagreeing to that. It's like, no, it's a really dumb thing to say. I understand that you're not supposed to hate people because of their culture, but it's like, you know what? If you can stone women in the street and you throw the gays off of buildings and you do all this, you burn people alive. You are a shitty person.
I am comfortable with thinking of that as an inferior culture to my own.
Yes.
That's not a leap. I don't know.
There's plenty of area to move around where you don't need to make a judgment call. But then there's some that you look at and you're just like, nope.
Yeah.
That's not a good culture.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a question on the, even when protesting an authoritarian government, violence is not acceptable. Because, like, what do you mean, right? Because, like, you could have people today, right, who are on the left or whatever and think that the current government, the current Trump administration is an authoritarian government and will throw stones and attack the police. And obviously that's wrong. But, like, if I lived in Syria and I was a Christian, I don't know that there's such an issue at that point. Like, at what point does it, I just, because the words, right? The words, it's protest and authoritarian government. Right. So at what point am I crossing a line into, well, I'm declaring fucking war, or it's just.
So, no, I get it, because I think for the most part, violence isn't a good way of sort of remediating issues in your own
in your free own society country. I feel like, yeah.
I mean, with other countries, sure, but
exactly.
But in your own, not quite as much.
So it's like you look at the word authoritarian, and you're like, oh.
But that's the thing. It's hard not to think of this as the same, trust fund kids who are super trendy, Antifa types,
Yeah.
thinking, well, Donald Trump's
An
he's a
authoritarian.
Nazi.
Yeah.
Well, he's a
exactly.
lot of things,
Yeah.
but he's not a Nazi.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think a lot of that has to do with the questions were probably too short.
Yeah.
Because there are some that, I mean, the ones that, actually the freer the market, the freer the people is something that you can agree with on a scale, I feel.
Yes.
Because it's a pretty simple concept. And then there's a couple of questions in here that are like, military spending is pointless. Social services. And the next question was like, social service spending is worthless.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's easy because for the most part, military is a pretty concrete term. And worthless is a pretty concrete term.
Yeah.
And you just have to work out to what degree you think that statement comes close to true. Which I would hope wouldn't be. Strongly agree.
It's
in either case.
It's an asinine. Yeah. It's just how about a hierarchical state is best?
What's the opposite?
Exactly? What is the alternative? What the fuck does that mean? God. I mean, maybe that's for like the sovereign citizens or whatever, a bunch of fucking anarchists, maybe. But
back in the 70s, I used to live in a commune, man. We didn't need any government. We did still pay taxes.
We definitely did that. And we still
benefited from roads, electricity, and the peace
military
brought forth by the organized military. But we didn't need anything, man. What is that? Yeah, that was a dumb question.
Stupid.
That was a really asinine question because it's like there is no alternative. The alternative is anarchy. And
yeah. It's absurd. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion, even if it is wrong. As measured by what? Like, I don't know what majority opinion means. Does that mean somebody took a poll? Or does that mean like we voted? Or does that like, I don't entirely understand what the fuck that actually means.
Well, I assume, and I have no idea, but like when I read that, it was like, well, I mean, you clearly have to disagree to some extent because it's like you look at history and you're like, how many times was our great nation maybe not so great on certain issues?
Sure.
And then I'm pretty sure it was the majority opinion at the time. So false, right?
Yeah.
Or strongly false.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand what that question means. Like, it's way too. So the president, I don't understand what exactly it's trying to get at. So yeah, I feel like, I feel like you could almost answer that question any way you want to. And there's nothing that you can really draw significantly from the response. Because if I say yes, like if I say
you could explain why you thought that way, but it has nothing to do with the scoring system.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But somehow this question is weighted. Somehow this question is weighted to figure out, to tell you where you are politically. But it's like, all it says is it is important that the government follows the majority opinion, even if it is wrong. And you're like, well, certainly to some degree. I mean, it is important because if you don't, right, you have civil disobedience. You potentially you risk all of that kind of stuff. You risk there are a lot of other issues that you can run into. So in some sense, yeah, I mean, it's important, but then at the same time, it's like, no, I disagree. You should, it's just, what do you like? What is the question trying to get at in this? I don't understand how it's weighted. I feel like it's just a terribly worded question, but
it is important that we further my group's goals above all others.
Yeah.
What is your group?
Yeah. I put disagree on that because I just saw the word group. So I was like, well, fuck it. You're already in a group. Go fuck yourself. Like,
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Bill Burr came straight through
right?
that question.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Pretty much.
I got to say, I think I didn't like tally it up, but there was a lot of this that I was fairly neutral on. Unless it was something asinine, like a hierarchical state is best. And you're like, well, yes, that is, I mean, if you want to be a state, yeah. Like,
someone has to be in charge. How they get there differs, but someone has to be in charge.
Yeah.
We live in a hierarchy. The president is set above the rest of us.
Yeah, he's the top guy. So,
but there's a big difference between how he got there and, say, you know, how Castro got to where he got, or Stalin got to where he got.
Yeah.
So hierarchy bad. There was one like intensely anarchist question. Other than that, I didn't write it down.
This one, I kind of loved this one because I burst out laughing when I read this one. Gun ownership should be prohibited for those without a valid reason. A valid reason for what? A valid reason for what? For owning a gun? What is this question taught? It's that gun ownership should be prohibited for those without a valid reason. So if you don't have a valid reason,
it's a confusing sentence.
It's a really confusing sentence.
And then it's like, and then now you're into the, what's a valid reason?
Exactly. What the hell? What in God's name does that mean?
What if I wanted a firearm because I wanted it?
Yeah, I don't know. Is
I wanted
that valid?
to look at it.
I don't know if that's valid. Like,
what if it makes me feel emotional support?
I don't know. Maybe you get like a prescription from your doctor. Prescribes you a gun. Like,
Jack says I need a 9mm.
It made me feel a little better. So,
yeah.
Like,
if
just
that doesn't work,
stupid,
going up to the 50 cal.
What a stupid fucking question. It is absolutely senseless. I don't know what it means because it's so badly worded and.
Well, so much of it's subjectives. Like, where are we now and where are we in the future? Because it's like, one of them was like global warming is the biggest, or is one of the biggest threats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, are you talking top 5, top 10?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Top 30? Because I would put it somewhere behind international terrorism, the general malaise of the economic system, the violence that is often caused by somewhat permissive border situations, the hegemony of certain nations in certain parts of the world. I would put it behind the overuse of bacteria or antibacterial soap.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, Superbug gets us.
Sure, Superbug's bad news. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't really have an issue. So yeah, it's like, but if you disagree with that, right? It's like, well, then am I saying that I'm some kind of fucking, I'm a climate change
science denier.
I deny it all, and I don't fucking think it's even a problem. Like, I don't. It's just like, so overall, this stupid fucking quiz makes me feel like it is true that the ideological divide between Americans is almost alienated now from actual reality. I just don't think that conservative and liberal or any of that, I just don't think those terms are really all that useful anymore in attempting to diagnose and figure out what is the best way forward for the nation. What is the best way forward for your average American?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I had kind of a similar and profoundly different take on it.
Okay.
Because I took this and I was like, centrist. That's interesting. I'm not opposed to being called a centrist. I like to think I'm at least reasonable most of the time. But most people who listen to me wouldn't describe me as a centrist.
No.
And I think in a certain part, I was wondering, like, is this trying to actually make people take this stupid test and, like, compare it with their friends and maybe compare it with a guy that they maybe not, you know, like, he seems like an okay guy, but he was on the other side of the Hobby Lobby thing. He thought that 8 types of contraceptive instead of 12 was okay. And I'm pretty sure he's a fascist.
Yeah.
Because of the 4 other contraceptives. Because I've jumped to that conclusion. Maybe this is supposed to, like, help me rein that in.
Yeah.
When we look at it and we're like, yeah, you know, we're not that far apart. Maybe we can hug it out. Everybody gets a Pepsi. I don't know.
I guess.
But then there's a part of me that looks at this and, like, the test is so fucking worthless.
Yeah, it is. I would say,
and it doesn't capture how people think, because if you get into people who are, like, libertarians, right? You know, you get into, like, Stefan Molyneux situation where he sees everything through the nonviolence principle.
Okay.
And, like, they have, like, 3 or 4 maxims, and those maxims guide every one of their political opinions as far as they can tell.
Yeah.
And they just go all in. And, like, I can respect that, because at least there's some fucking sense of a philosophy. But at the same time, I think the nonviolence principles is dumb. It's just
dumb. Yeah, it's just an excuse to be a pussy.
Well, it's and I strongly disagreed to the question about that you should promote violence against people that you disagree with.
Great. I don't remember that even as a question.
No, it was the violence is no. I don't remember how it was phrased, but we've already talked about it. It was the violence is never okay, etc. question.
Oh, against an authoritarian government?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's stupid.
Well, it doesn't work.
No.
Anyway,
I'm not gonna get beheaded for holding up a fucking sign. You know, like if that's the alternative, it's like, well, my peaceful protests generally end in my beheading. So I'm gonna fucking pick up a weapon instead and protest with that. Seems like a reasonable.
Do you ever wonder about the efficacy of a strongly authoritarian government that has unlimited power and the will to that power? You just need to look back at Russia. They killed 60 million people.
Yeah.
In a nation that even today is only like 240 million. They killed like 1 in 5 people.
Well, that was their fault for protesting.
They didn't even have to protest. They just had to say the wrong joke. That's off to prison.
That's protesting. So
if Kathy Lee was living in that state, she wouldn't have been given a press conference. You'd have been like, what happened to Kathy Lee?
Yeah. Who is Kathy? Oh, I'm sorry. There never was a Kathy Lee.
I think I remember her from a show that wasn't very funny.
No,
there
don't.
Was no Kathy Lee. Okay, I'm kind of getting a hint here.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, she's up in Alaska. She's breaking ice.
Yeah. Probably.
Whatever. But jeez,
it's stupid.
So I don't know what to think of this test, other than that it's shit.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
I do hope that it helps people, like, honestly look at each other and start to talk. I don't know. There's no way that this is going to do it, but something like this might eventually get people to behave like rational, intelligent animals again.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I hope so. It just feels like this terminology has become kind of meaningless to me. I just don't know how useful it is to talk about, like, even nationalism versus globalism, liberalism versus conservatism. Like, I don't really think there's much to be gained anymore in talking about any situation through those with those particular terms. It just seems stupid to me now, and I think at this point it's more of a stain on the conversation than it is anything else. Those terms do more damage than they do any kind of help, because it makes it almost impossible to see the actual situation through a kind of pragmatic, practical perspective. I can think an idea is good until I hear that it's a fucking conservative idea. And I can't, it's not okay anymore. Like,
that sort of thing. And I've been trying to get away from using the term liberal in a disparaging connotation. For the most part, I do a pretty good job of it, since I consider myself to be pretty liberal.
Well, you're a centrist.
But
obviously.
Well, I didn't know until recently. There was a stupid survey on the internet, and I was like, that's a weird question. I guess I'm neutral.
Yeah, that is how I reacted to a lot of it. I think this is an asinine and meaningless question, so I'm neutral.
I can agree with the stronger or the freer the market, the freer the people. I've heard that one explained to me pretty well.
Sure.
It seems to make sense.
I guess. I think I put disagree on that, but I don't know. I feel like on its face, though, like, it's clear. But then there's that part of me that's like, well, what about the dystopic future world where we're all ruled by corporations because of the fucking free market? I don't want to live in that, because then there's a lot of people that aren't free in that. So, it's just stupid. It's not. It's just stupid. It's too simplistic.
There are plenty of great examples
term.
of, like, a society learns to hate a company, and that company just ceases to exist after a few years.
But there are great examples of that exact same thing where everybody hates the company and they don't have a fucking choice. Comcast, Time Warner Cable. You can point, like, at stupid stuff like that all day, and it's like, if a company corners a market and they're the only fucking provider of a particular service, and they're so fucking wealthy, and there is nothing in place to stop them from gaining even more control, that they just beat out or buy up all the rest of the competition. That's the dystopic corporate, nightmare world. That's the alternative to the 1984 dystopic government authoritarian.
But the weird thing, particularly when you get into Comcast thing, the reason why Comcast has monopolies in vast sections of the United States, and that's not to say that AT&T or Time Warner Cable or whatever don't have other areas of the country and do exactly the same thing, is because regulations being what there are, there's only room for one.
Well, that's part of it. I think it's like a physical limit, right? The cable, you've got to have cable lines installed in the fucking ground and route. You've got to have, like, all of that in place. I feel like that's
Yeah, I'm not sure to what
what
degree they actually own them anymore, because like cell phone towers, for the most part, aren't owned by cell phone companies.
Yeah,
They're owned by cell phone tower companies.
They're leased too. I know because I know you have to buy.
Do exactly that. Lease out.
Yeah, you have to buy out. I don't know exactly how the fuck it works, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So, I mean, like a lot of what we look at today in terms of like these free market monopolies aren't really free market monopolies. They're a symptom of corporatism, which is, and you can read about this in plenty of economic places. If you have like basically, rather than having a socialist state-controlled company, it's sometimes easier basically to regulate companies so that you basically get rid of the bottom tier or make it so expensive that no one can get into it. And then just have controlled monopolies. So you have like the government only needs to worry about 3 people, basically.
Yeah.
And you can say it's free market all day, but it's not, because in a lot of ways, these are the 3 companies that colluded to make the laws and the regulations that make it impossible for other people to enter those markets. And then the government's like, look at what a good job we did. All these regulations are in place to protect you. Enjoy your $140 cable package.
Sure. Yeah, that's a negative side of it. That's for sure.
We are getting a second cable provider someday in this town.
That's exciting.
I don't know what's happening, but I know that it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really give a shit how terrible they are. I am probably going to use them for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think a free market is always great where competition is healthy. Otherwise, it's fucking dangerous. So, you gotta have competition as long as there's competition in place. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's so hard because I deal with regulation every day.
Yeah.
And then I have people tell me how regulation always helps the consumer. And it's like, I can patently tell you several examples where it doesn't.
Yeah.
Or where, a company wants to offer a product, but is basically told you can't do that because we've made rules against it. Even if it does provide a service, you can't do it. It's just like, it's just dumb. It's dumb.
Sure, I'm sure some of it is dumb. I have absolutely no fucking doubt about it. But it's just like, that's why it's worthless to talk about it in these kind of like general terms. It's just fucking worthless because there's no rational minded person who's going to say, well, all regulation is stupid because of these ones that I've seen that are stupid. And there's nobody else who's going to be like, well, 100% of all regulations are fucking awesome. Like, those are two totally worthless points of view. And of course, what everybody agrees on is that there should be regulation that works, and we should get rid of the regulation that's dumb and doesn't work. That's it. And to figure that out, but to actually, nobody wants to like dive in to the details of those particular issues. And that's why politics is crap. And that's why no one can talk about this stuff intelligently, because to actually try to delineate which regulation is worthwhile and which one isn't, nobody has time for that. No average American has time for that or the fucking patience for that, because it's fucking boring.
Well, that's where you get the whole for every new regulation.
Right. That's why that sounds like a good line, because people are stupid and It's yeah.
Never mind that regulations are of arbitrary length, and you can quite literally fold 3 or 4 of them into one.
Yeah. So it's just a waste of time. It's just I criticizing regulation is dumb, and suggesting just arbitrarily that we need more of it is fucking also goddamn dumb.
I read a sentence in a regulation that was 183 words long.
That's awesome. That's like a William Faulkner sentence.
No, I almost guarantee you that William Faulkner would be more readable. The regulation in question was about the readability of a contract.
That's pretty great.
And how it should be readable.
That's pretty awesome.
It took me nearly 10 minutes to figure out what the sentence said. You had to take it apart. There's so many commas.
Yeah.
Just imagine how many sheets of 8x10 you would need in order to diagram that.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah. That's a big diagram.
I didn't do that. I just started deleting the parts that didn't lend to the understanding of the sentence.
Yeah.
So this is shit. On the bright side, we do have better things coming next week.
Yeah. Thank God.
You are definitely available next week.
Yeah.
I hope.
Pretty sure.
We're gonna have a
Yeah.
We're gonna have a thing one way or the other.
Yeah.
This week is E3.
Hell yeah.
I have already watched the EA conference.
Oh, really? Was that any good?
Yeah.
I guess we have to wait.
It keeps dangling Star Wars in front of me, and I keep not wanting to do it, and it keeps looking like fun.
Really?
It really does.
That's cool.
It's so disappointing. I think I might be disappointed in myself, but honestly, it's not that much money. We'll see. It's hard to say.
Cool.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
I'm sure it is.
Haven't seen any of the other ones. Obviously, Microsoft, Sony, and Bethesda are probably the big ones that we're looking forward to.
Do we expect anything from Bethesda?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything. More online.
They'll probably
whatever the fuck it's called. Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls. They just released an expansion. That's supposed to be just amazing.
Morrowind. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, no.
Do those exist? Do those even have like monthly fees anymore? MMOs?
Some of them do. Some of them don't.
Huh. It seems like ridiculous now to have a monthly fee, I think, for an MMO.
It seems to me that there's a lot of ways to offer players what they want without that, right?
Yeah.
Like cosmetic customization, costing physical money, fine. To a certain extent, even like level caps. Like conceptually what the Marvel Heroes Omega does isn't terrible.
No.
But it's not. I still think that game's a bit of a cash grab.
Totally. Totally. But it's not bad. So, you know.
No, well, I mean, if you have self-control, you can get through it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you do not have self-control,
well, then you deserve.
There are so many people, I swear, they get paid, and if they have any money left after 2 weeks, they're like, I've just got to spend it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, you know, whatever.
And you wonder why you're always poor.
Yeah. It's that damn Marvel Heroes Omega. We need a regulation to stop them from making us buy all their shit.
I almost guarantee you there's some
Yeah,
regulation.
I'm sure there is. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's write an open letter to Congress asking for a maximum fee for a skin for a character.
I love it. I love it. Happy
I think
to
it's a good
co-author
idea. No, we're not going to do that. All right. I don't think we have anything to talk about.
No, I don't think so either.
I think that this has been a really disappointing episode.
I'm fine with it.
Really,
I'm glad it's
really
shorter than others. And I don't know, man. I feel like it's a good episode in that, at least to me, it has revealed.
This is episode 25.
How
should have been better.
Fucking yeah, maybe. I guess given the number, but at least we've laid bare, I think, how stupid political ideologies are, just in general. How worthless and divorced from fucking reality it all is.
I mean, the worst is clearly postmodernism.
Clearly, that's causing everybody's fucking issues.
So that has been episode number 25 of the Wednesday Night Gentleman Multimedia Empire, the official podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please feel free to like and or subscribe to our channel if you've enjoyed our banter. I started a Twitter thing.
Twitter!
Head on over to our Facebook. Give us a like there. We will see you next week on episode number 26.
Bye-bye.